Raiders. What is up, Robert Pena? Thank you for being here, my brother. NorCal Raider Jesse, welcome. Salute, my brothers. We'll be getting started here in just a second. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Happy Thursday night, Raider Nation. Welcome to another episode of Night of the Shield, live right here on the Las Vegas Raiders News Review channel. That's right, I changed that up today. Just thought it would be more of a broader way to grab some attention, some of our Raider Nation brethren, bring them in. So you're watching Night of the Shield on the Las Vegas Raiders News Review channel. Brought to you by the Independently Blind Studios, where I educate, advocate, motivate, and inspire others that are dealing with sight loss to live their best independent life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, we got a fun one tonight. There's not much going on, so I thought we'd go ahead and start talking about the first four games of the regular season. I call it the first quarter of the season. I break the season up in quarters. Obviously, there's four quarters. The NFL decided to make it more interesting and put a 17th game in there, right? I use that as my extra game. Well, I'll explain that as the season goes on, what I do with that 17th game. But tonight, we are talking the first four games of the season. If this is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button, the notification bell, so you can be updated every time I drop another episode or go live. And hey, do me a favor and let's hit that like button. You hear? Hit that like button and let's get to it. So first off, again, what's up? NorCal Raider Jesse and Robert Pena. I appreciate you guys being here. I need to make a lot of people a mod. I got to start making mods, right? So I'll definitely be putting people in as soon as I can figure that out and see what I'm doing. But that's definitely coming. That's definitely coming. Welcome. I appreciate you guys being here. Looks like it might be a small crowd on a Thursday night, but that's all right. We're here just to talk football. And we're going to go ahead and start it off with week one against Denver. It's interesting, man, because because we got really nothing secure and solid to base week one off of, except for what we saw last year and kind of what we've seen in the preseason. You know, a lot of people will tell you preseason don't mean anything. It means a whole lot for the squads, these coaches, these players. It doesn't really necessarily represent what you're going to see week one, but it does matter. And from what I saw, outside of the fact that Jerry Jeudy's hurt, that's a Sean Payton run club over there, so I'm not going to underestimate him. However, I don't see them being ready week one to take on a returning squad that has a lot of similarities. Oh, hold on. So I believe Sean Payton and that team is going to struggle for a little bit. Russell Wilson showed his legs are back, his arms a little lively. Right? Okay, fine. I'll give him that credit. But I just think this is the best time for us to play the Broncos in Denver in September. No snow, no cold weather. Yes, we're going into the high altitude, but I think we got this one. I think out of all these four games, that's one game that I could mark down on the schedule as a W. And again, I'm basing it primarily off our offense. I expect this offense to come out swinging. The only questionable item that we have on our offense is Jimmy G, in my opinion. And Jimmy G is a proven winner if he's healthy. I'm not worried about him throwing a 40-yard pass either. I think the receivers, Devontae, Hunter, Jacoby Myers, They're going to run their routes. They're going to be on time. We got Austin Hooper. He's a vet. He could block. He could catch. He could separate. And Mayer's going to get into some routes, man. Mayer's going to get open. Mayer's going to get some looks. This offense is ready to go. And let's not forget, Josh Jacobs, a rested, very well-rested Josh Jacobs, is going to get that rock. Let me see what we got here. Hold on, here we go. Charles City, if I'm reading that right. So, okay, for guys who don't know, I'm legally blind. I got the AirPod in my ear, listen to my voiceover. Charm City, salute. Charm City. The donkey stink, I agree. No, I think Denver's defense they got good corners too, so it'll be a great test out the gate for our receiving core. I just think that our offense can do the job. What I'm most interested to see, and we've been talking about it all week long, is this defense. How's this defense going to come out and respond? I know this defense is going to come out fired up. This defense has been hyped up. They've been hyping themselves up, and this is going to be their time to shine. 4 quarters to come out and show what they're made of, and I got really high expectations for them. This is a game I don't want to lose. And the funny thing about most of these games in the NFL, right? There's always those games that you look at and you're like, that's a winnable game, and you'll lose it. Then you'll look at the schedule and you'll say, man, that's a losable game, and you'll win it. So it's a crapshoot. None of us really know. But I think if we had a chance to come out on top, on the road, week 1, this is the best matchup for us right now. New coach. They're banged up on the offensive line. Their main receiver is out. Yes, their defense is pretty good, but you still got to score points. Their defense might be good, but our offense, I believe, is going to be high-powered, at worst case scenario, high-efficiency offense. You see what our field goal kicker can do. We don't have to get that far in to at least get 3. We should be scoring a lot. So all we have to do is make just enough plays on defense. And I'm telling you, something tells me this defense is going to come out fired up, man. They're going to be ready to play week 1. So I got us winning week 1. Week 2, on the other hand, is another road game in Buffalo. You want to talk about a test. You're on the road again. You're in Buffalo. You got Josh Allen and the boys. That's not going to be an easy task. Now, it's easy to sit here. I don't have a crystal ball to tell you what exactly is going to happen. But if I had to give the Raiders an opportunity to show exactly who they are this season, this would be the opportunity, right? But realistically, you would have to make them the underdogs. So therefore, if you're just predicting from a predictable basis, I would say a loss. I would say a loss in Buffalo. Then you go into the next week where you got Pittsburgh. Now, this is a matchup I think that we're going to be evenly matched. Especially by this point, we should start seeing what our defense really made of. Our defense should be coming out. Hopefully, they'll be banging on all cylinders. We know the glaring weaknesses should be there. The strengths should be showing themselves by this point. But I think this is going to be a great matchup. And if I had to give us another win, I would give us the opportunity to beat Pittsburgh. I got us beating Pittsburgh, and then San Diego's a crapshoot for me. It's another one. It's a team that we've fought hard the last 2 seasons. They're not that much better than us. And a lot of people will say because of Justin Herbert and his big pay and all this stuff, Mac and Bosa. Look, we battled them boys enough that's not to scare me. That don't scare me no more. Again, we're talking about an offense that I believe is underrated. And when we come out swinging, they're going to see that we have all the weapons this year. An offense that's on the same page, receivers that are running routes that are supposed to be ran, timing routes, ball getting out of his hand quickly, being where it's supposed to be. On top of the fact that you bring back the number 1 rusher in the league last year. I don't think San Diego's ready for what we're bringing, especially defensively. That's the sneaky part of our football team. We don't know where we're going to be defensively. Now, I know I have to pick a winner here. But if I had to be fair and just base it off statistics and what we saw last year, because that's all we have to go off of right now, even if I give the Raiders a loss in week 4, that puts us at 500 in the quarter 1. And the reason I want to talk about this scenario is because this is the kind of start we would have to start proving our doubters wrong. Winning the games that we were supposed to win and maybe losing the games that we're supposed to lose is not going to be a glaring, scary moment for anybody. So I really believe at this point, if we could at least get out of there 500 in the first 4 games, we're on the right track. But I would be lying if I didn't think that we come out of this 3-1. And if we could come out of this first 4 quarters 3-1, I'm pretty excited heading into week 2. Now, with that 17th game, ideally, you want to win 3 games a quarter or at least split. That 17th game is considered like a bye week where you could take that 17th game and add it to any section of the quarter, any quarter that you want to either make yourself 500 or above. That's how we're going to make the playoffs. That's how we're going to make the playoffs. Take it 1 game at a time, 1 quarter at a time. Take care of the teams in front of us. I'm getting ready to jump in the chat. I know probably a lot of you are going to probably maybe even disagree with what I have to say, but I'm putting out scenarios tonight. Let's talk this out. We know Buffalo's a strong football team. San Diego's always been a good competitive football team that never could win the big one. They can never get the job done when it comes down to it. They're a division rival. It's going to be a fight. It could go either way. I personally think that we can catch them slipping. Let me see what everybody's saying. Let me get in the chat here. We're going to get on it. Maybe our collective. Welcome back, my brother. Nice to see you here. Rolling the Dubs is in the house. What's up, brother? Combo, welcome back, my brother. Thank you for being here. Everybody's saying what's up to each other in the chat. We have to come out and beat the Donkeys. I agree. This is where we separate ourselves from the rest of the pack. This is a great. I'm going to call it an extension to the preseason because I think this team is at a place that we could go in there and we could make a few mistakes and still win the football game. The defense can come out and figure out some of their issues and correct them on the fly. This is a game we must win. Lay it all out there, really figure things out because we're going to need it the next 3. That's right. Robert Payne is cracking me up. No Von Miller for the Bills game. That's true. No Von Miller. So that helps, right? But I mean, Von Miller's one player. That's a great all-around football team. It's definitely going to be a plus. But this offense is designed for that short passing game, which helps slow down other people's pass rush. As long as the receivers can get open on the routes. I think that's what I'm the most excited to see. I mean, Devontae Adams, do I need to say anything else? Hunter coming back in his 2nd year, and Jacoby Myers, a guy that's been doing it in this system for a very long time. It's very promising. It's much different than what we had last year. All these guys, most of them were first time in the system. You had Mac Jones on the other side running wrong routes, And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to talk too much about last year because people get hurt. But and I'm not trying to create any drama tonight. But at the end of the day, regardless if you like Jimmy G or not, this is going to be a more efficient ran Josh McDaniels offense. So we'll be able to see for 4 quarters what a Josh McDaniels offense could look like for this franchise. Dude, Watts is in the house. My boy Watts, what's up, brother? Long time no see. Literally. Wearing the shades, brother. You know how I do it. Everybody say what's up to Watts. Watts is always big pimping around this house, man. This used to be Watts' house back in the day. He used to come strolling in a limo, wearing his long mink coat, doing his little Watts stride up the road. After a victory, he would call in on the hotline and own the show. Miss those days, Watts. Beat the Colts. Beat Miami. That'd be a fun one, too. Nick's got us going 10-7. He probably knows it's going to be more like 9-8. It's a tough call right now. A lot of, and I always take this into consideration, right? Because I understand that I'm a fan. Shout out to J.O. He comments on my stuff all the time. Really, really cool dude. It's always around. And I'll reiterate to anybody, you guys tell me, you guys do not have to agree with me. Half the time I don't agree with myself, right? But I often talked about optimism and reality. When our optimism meets reality, sometimes it's not what we expect. It's been happening for 20 years. And, he brought it to my attention. He's like, hey, Knight, you're one of those people that are always optimistic. And I know I am. That's the fan in me, dude. I can't help it. I will always root for this team until I can't. This is week 1. We haven't even played a game yet. I'm going to be all on board, dude. All hands on deck. I believe that this team has a chance to make the playoffs. Which means we have a chance to make it to the AFC Championship game, which means we have the chance to make it to the Super Bowl until we don't. Now, I know I've been doing this a long time, been around a long time. I'm an old cat, right? I know it's not going to be this easy. I know making the playoffs is a long shot for this football team that is still building. We're not in a rebuild, but we're still building culture, and we're still trying to find pieces that fit. And I'm going to be honest, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we're counting on a lot of young cats to come in here and make plays, especially in the defensive tackle position, the corner position, and primarily the linebacker. I'm not satisfied where we're at from a linebacker perspective or defensive tackle. That doesn't mean we don't have talent. It just means I don't know what they're going to perform and do yet. But we have studs at every level. I like our safeties. The addition of Marcus Peters strengthens us on the outside. You got Max, you got Chandler Jones. I think Coots has a chance to be something special this year. And Tyree Wilson's got to grow. And we just got to give him those opportunities to grow. But, I mean, I could tell you right now, there ain't nothing wrong with you thinking we're going to go 10-7 or even 9-8. But we just have to be able to be honest with each other. If things start to unravel again, that we're going to be the type of fans that come here and talk about it and figure it out and raise a lot of hell and hope that they hear our voices. Because that's all we're doing, man. We're just here to have a good time and support something. For a lot of us, the fandom of this team goes a lot deeper than just the surface, man. I know it does for me, and I know it does for a lot of y'all. I know Watt's story too. This goes a lot more deeper than that shield for Watts. This is family rooted for him. It's family rooted for a lot of us. So be optimistic. So when I say when optimism don't meet reality, I'm not telling nobody else to be optimistic. I'm just saying be optimistic. You should be optimistic. There's enough going on, but remember, there's 31 other teams and fans that believe they have a chance too. So this team's got to go out there and back up our optimism. And I'm not gonna say the sky is falling if it doesn't work out. We'll talk about it. We'll work our way through it and figure it out, just like we did last year. I agree, Combo. I'm really excited for this offensive line. This system is designed to make their job a lot easier as well. Their primary function really is to open up those holes for the run. They're not asked to block for a long time. The design of this offense is get the ball out of your hand real quick. Yeah, it might be a fun game to watch, right, Watts? I think it'll be a shootout, too. It's going to be a fun one to watch, brother. Yeah, man. I love being the underdog. I think that gives us that extra edge. Before everything started to come together, let me see. Let me go back real quick. Raider Nation Alley wants a prediction for the season. I usually take it quarter by quarter, but if I had to just put a realistic, I want to be a little bit realistic right now, right? I do have us at about 9-8. Now I think there's a lot more potential for more. I don't know. I mean, if you look at the schedule, we're playing a lot of teams that have spent a lot of money and they're on the cusp, right? We got to burn through that AFC East, and that's not going to be an easy task. Our division, I really think our division, there's some opportunity here if we play right. It really comes down, and I've been saying this, and this is why it's very hard to solidly say and give us 10 or more wins, is because there's still a question mark over this defense. I know what we've heard. I know what we got, and I believe in what I heard, and I believe in what we got. But until we see it, until they start really producing when it counts, it's hard for me to put them in a position I need them to be in. But I am extremely confident on this offense. I believe that Josh McDaniels is a good offensive coordinator. I believe that a lot of the pieces that he had, I mean, remember, this guy coached 13 years straight. He came from an organization that he was there for 13 years straight, coaching one of the best offenses in the league of all time. This guy knows his job. He came over, he had players that some of them didn't buy in, and some of them, like Mac Jones, even Hunter said he had a real bad off year. Waller wasn't fully in. Some people were struggling picking up the offense or wanting to even pick up the offense, not fully understanding what his concept was. That's why he made the comment, I'm going to go out and get my guys. I need to get my guys. I need to set my culture. Because once you get it right, and I believe a lot of the pieces are there now, there's the people that are here believe in Josh. They know what Josh is building. They know what it's capable of doing. And there's people there that are going to help set it off. Brandon Bolden, Jacoby Myers. Those are two key players that are going to help set this offense straight. Devontae's second year, Hunter's second year. This offense is ready to go. Jimmy G has been in the system before. And where he's lacking in muscle memory and brain memory to understand fully what it is, that's why Hoyer's there, everyone. He's going to help that part of it along. He's going to be the clipboard guy. He's going to be the guy in the quarterback room explaining everything, making sure everything's dialed in. Jimmy's going to pick this up pretty quick. And this is a kind of offense that Jimmy can excel in. Quick reads, get the ball out of your hand fast, let your playmakers make plays. Josh Jacobs is back. There's no excuse for this offense. I guess that's what I'm getting at. I don't believe that Josh McDaniels is on the hot seat unless this offense implodes. Then we have some conversations we need to have. You said 7-9. I think you meant like 7-10. If Jimmy stays healthy, I think we got a shot. I really do, Watts. I would like to be a wild card team at best. That's my realistic prediction. But check with me at week 4, and I'll tell you if we're a playoff team or not. That's not cheating, man. Come on now. We got 13 games after that. I just need to see this defense. I need to see if this defense is for real. I'm not looking for a top 10 defense either. We talked about it last night. If our defense can rank in the top 18, we got a shot. Yeah, we got it. We got to take on. You know what, Watts? That's an interesting. They were talking. I was watching Locked On Raiders with Q, and they put up a video today where everybody it was kind of a funny video. It was kind of, if you guys haven't watched it, go check it out. Looked up the Locked On Raiders on YouTube. I'm sure he has it on his podcast feed too, but it's everybody that does the Locked On Sports, for each respectable team in the AFC West. Actually, it's a whole show on all. I was just interested in what they said about the AFC West, and they were basically ranking quarterbacks. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Then they went Justin Herbert, Russell Wilson, and all these guys. Man, they were talking about how great and how good they can be, and they were all giving their flowers to Patrick Mahomes, which, let's face it, everybody should. I'm not even trying to make that argument. Then it came to Q, boy. He was just like, yeah, Jimmy stays healthy. We have a good shot. He's cute. A lot of girls like him. It was just, I felt sorry for Q because I think Q wanted to be a little bit more confident about it. But, I mean, Jimmy just got that reputation, right? So, but if he stays healthy, bro, like I know we have some good quarterbacks in the division, but Jimmy's got a lot of wins, man. Jimmy finds himself on really good offensive football teams. He went from the Patriots to the Niners, and Kyle Shanahan's offenses are usually very productive. He's not very consistent, especially throughout a whole season, but the guy designed some good stuff. Pena, that's a good point, Pena. Like Pena's saying he likes our defensive front, and I think it does. I mean, my problem is it's a lot of familiar faces from last year, and we struggled in that area. So just as much as you say we don't have that stud at linebacker, I get you. I still say I'm looking for that stud to step up this year in that defensive tackle spot. We need somebody to rise to the occasion and be that difference maker, because that's what these ends need, right? These ends give those defensive tackles every opportunity to have great seasons in the middle because our outside is so dominant. And if the defensive tackles can start stepping up, that's going to free up Max and Chandler, Kuntz, and Tyree. That's what we need to see. And then let the linebackers fire around and make plays. I often bring up the Ravens with the Haloti Ngata. When they went and got Haloti Ngata, it really changed the dynamic of that football team. Ray Lewis said the year before, he was pissed. He was ready to give it up. He goes, "You need to get me a guy in the middle because that's how he excels." When they brought in Haloti Ngata, Ray Lewis turned back to himself. And trust me, we don't have a Ray Lewis linebacker on this football team, but if you have a good front that's plugging, opening up the holes and plugging them where they need to, it allows the linebacker to fly into the holes and make plays. That's how Ray Lewis was able to be so great. That and he was an amazing linebacker. Our QB and our defense, yeah, I'm pretty confident if Jimmy can stay healthy, we're going to be okay at QB. I'm really not. Only thing I'm sweating is the health. But we had to be honest. It's football. We have to feel that way about all these guys. I know he's a little bit more fragile, but come on. But the defense is where it's at for me. This defense needs to improve and play really consistent. How many weeks? So Raider Nation Alley. I'm sorry, my voiceover's not picking it up clearly. I think it's how many weeks will Garoppolo last? I mean, I'm hoping 17 weeks, as long as he can stay healthy. Most people try to talk about this, right? If we can get 7 games out of him, we can get 8, 10 games out of Jimmy, we're going to be sitting pretty good. If I had to be a little selfish and honest, I'm hoping that we can pull anywhere between between 8 and 10 games of Jimmy, because I would love Aiden late in the season to have an opportunity. Because I think we've seen enough, right? At some point, you got to throw him in the fire. And, depending on how our win-loss record is, I would like to see Aiden a little early. A lot of people are speculating that Josh McDaniels has no plans of throwing this kid in the fire. He wants to give him time, which if you've been watching any of my videos lately, I've been saying the same thing. I don't want them to push this kid too early and shake him up because he looks so poised. He looks like he's picking up on it very well. His mechanics are insane, especially for what Josh McDaniels does primarily. And everybody talks about he's just a pocket guy. We saw him roll outside the pocket that last preseason game and throw a dart to Mayer crossing over the field. That says a lot to me. Yeah, he may not be, Patrick Mahomes breaking out of the pocket, running towards the sideline, but the fact that he kept his eyes up the field and still had enough athleticism to throw a strike the way he did, this kid has enough to play the quarterback position. This league is changing. I understand that it's a running back, quarterback type ball game. If you guys have been here for a while, I did years ago, probably back in 2015. I went really hard on why I don't like running quarterbacks. And primarily is because their first option is always to run, and they're looking to pass second. The quarterback's job is to pass the ball, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to say we have a new evolution of quarterbacks that we're seeing come into the NFL right now that have the ability to do both, and they've gotten much better at doing it. It's ever evolving. It's kind of like the linebacker situation is changing because of tight ends and so on and so forth. But I promise you, if you have the right offensive system, which I believe we do with Josh McDaniels, and you got the right playmakers around you and a guy that could stay in the pocket and deliver the ball the way that we saw Aiden doing it, that is the formula. That old school, you can't substitute for old school football. Ask some of these running backs that are blowing ACLs. Where's Kyler Murray at? Where's Murray going to be at this year? They're blowing up that team because he's not around. Where's Trey Lance? Wasn't he supposed to be the next great thing? He got hurt too. Most of these running quarterbacks are bound to get hurt because they run. Now, if you were to go out and get me a running stud that could do a lot of things, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be excited about it. I'm an old school guy. I like old school football. And Aiden O'Connell keeps that alive, and I think he looks great. His poise in the pocket's insane. Bilal, Nichols, and Tillery. I really like Tillery Watts. And then the reason I like Tillery is because he shows that dual threat. Stop the run. He might not be good at stopping the run, but he's good enough to stop the run. But I like his pass rush ability. That's the one thing. We've had guys that play the run pretty good. And I think that we have the guys on this team, especially with Jenkins and Bilal Nichols. I think those guys could really plug up the middle. But Tillery needs to come in on those third and longs and make something happen. I actually want to see Tyree Wilson coming inside on some of those third and longs every once in a while. Because he's got the power game, right? And if he's not ready to do all the spin moves and the hand slaps and get all that kind of stuff down right now, he'd be great to throw in the middle on these long third and longs and let him just bull rush that middle. I don't know. We'll see. Nick 209, you know what? Sometimes you're right, Nick 209, right? Control the time of possession. Sometimes your offense can be your best defense if it's done right. If you can be a well-oiled machine and you have a great combination of passing and running the football, you could really work that clock to your advantage. The best way to control Mahomes is keep him on the sideline. It seems that way, right? He's poised this year. Don't you think, Watts? Kuntz is poised to come in and make a big difference right now. Kuntz is that guy that we've been keeping an eye on for a long time. The problem with Kuntz is he always shows up during the preseason. He does enough to make the team. And, last year I often wonder if he just didn't get enough reps. And I hope that they bring, Chandler dropped the weight. I know he was a little nicked up. They've been kind of babying him, protecting him a little bit. I hope that they give these young guys a little bit more opportunity and give him some rest. Because I think that's where we have an opportunity for Kuntz to take the next step and keep Chandler strong throughout the season. Jump in 23. What's up, brother? I already know what that name stands for. I'm going to go back and make sure I heard it right. Jump in 23, bro. I know that's a Jordan thing, but welcome, my brother. Yeah, Philip Merchant 1, we definitely need a linebacker and a DT for sure. It's going to be interesting because we really don't know Robert Spillane. In all honesty, we only seen him make one real big play in the preseason, and I loved what I saw. And I love everything that I hear, right? This guy he seems like the guy, and I'm going to be like a broken record. Some of you guys probably heard this already, but this is a cat, man, that not only is got the green dot, he's lining people up, he's teaching people, but he's really raising the level of other people around him. Those are good football players, man. That's a rare trait. And if that's the real deal, if that's what's really happening with Robert Spillane, then look out. Greg Biekert wasn't your most athletic, most dominating linebacker, but he made up for it with the smarts. And Robert Spillane has both. He has more athleticism, and he's very smart. So he was the backup in the Pittsburgh's defense. You see what they got over there? That's not a bad thing, right? We got ourselves we might have a better football player than we think. So I'm excited. So Spillane has a big job, right? And if Spillane, he's known to be healthy. He's known to play hard. Yes, they say he's questionable in the past, but he hasn't had a whole lot of playing time. So let's see. Reports out of campus, he made some picks. Let's see. These are the types of things that we have to wait and see. That's why it's really hard to say, oh, we're going to dominate this team or we're going to beat this team or our record's going to be that. I need to see this defense step up and perform. Watts talking about, you know what? Watts took over last year, right? Watts seriously was single-handedly beat the Seattle Seahawks. But if we have a chance this year, right, if our defense steps up, I want a fresh Josh. I know we're not going to have a fresh Josh Jacobs, but if we do have a chance to sneak in on a wild card even, I want Josh Jacobs to be healthy. So I don't mind the whole running back by committee thing, especially if we're winning football games. Raider Dangerfield, what's up, my brother? Thank you, brother. Salute back. Man, Watts Drake. We talked about that last night. I was comparing him to Brian Urlacher. Someone brought up Zach Thomas. He has that kind of spunk, that little fire. I know he's undersized, and that may, shout out to everybody. I think there was someone else who messaged me after the show was over and brought up Keelan Doss. We were talking about Doss last night, Watts, and we were talking about all the hype we had for that guy, and then he went and signed with Jacksonville, and then we got him back. We had to give up a draft pick to get him back over here, and he never amounted to nothing. So I'm not going to sit there and say that Drake was going to be that guy, but dang, he looked good. So much potential. I would have loved for him to stay a Raider. Yeah, I want to see Kuntz go loose. I do like Amari Burney too. I'm interested to see this kid's growth. I don't expect him to be that guy this year, but man, he showed a lot of potential. Yeah, Kuntz will get a lot. They're gonna ease Tyree along. I'm honestly, I'd like to see them slide Tyree in the inside for a little bit, only on 3rd and long plays. See, I agree that we're not going to be 27. I really don't. I think they're basing that off the debacle, the collapse. Josh McDaniels, everybody's on this cat, man. And I made the comment that Josh has earned my respect, and I understand how you got to take that. You could take it for what it is. He has got my respect. Now, has he earned my respect as the future of this franchise as being a head coach? No, but I think he's been a man of his word. He came out at the end of the season. He was just like, wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough. The staff wasn't good enough. All across the board, we all have to get better. He said that he was going to go out. He flat out said, I'm going to go get my guys. And everybody was still acting like, oh, my God, he's going and getting paid. Of course, he just said he was going to go get Patriots. He's a man of his word. He brought people in here. Look, I think he brought in the right pieces on offense that now everybody on this football team, from the quarterback to the running backs to the wide receivers, the offensive line is second year in this thing too. A lot more people on the same page in this offense than last year. And then you have a guy under center that's not going to fight back at all. He's going to be a yes man. This is the play. He's going to read the play. He's going to get the ball out of his hands. It's going to be on time. We saw a small glimpse of it. It didn't look perfect, but you saw the power that it had. They marched right up the field. Right up the field. And it may take a few reps. It might even take the whole half to really get it humming. Hell, man, that's why I think Denver's the perfect game. With the exception that it's on the road, but then the benefit of it being on the road is it's Denver in September, not Denver in December. I think this is a great start for us, a great opportunity for us to work out the kinks and get this thing rolling. Well, 100% Watts that O'Connell has the strongest arm over Jimmy. But Jimmy's experience, he's still going to have that same composure. For a guy who gets, you know why he gets hurt a lot? Because he doesn't come off that way. When I see him at the podium, he's a pretty boy, right? Like everybody talks about his looks. He's a pretty boy. But he's a tough dude, man. He will stand there and take a hit, and he will deliver that football. So maybe Jimmy needs to move a little bit more. I don't know what he's going to need to protect himself, but he might not have the strong arm, but it's strong enough in this offense. Once Aiden's ready, Josh will be able to take this offense to a whole nother level. And I think that they know that, and I think that's why they're going to be patient with it. Yeah, Nick 209, Bo Chandler, and Spillane needed to stay healthy. Spillane has a pretty good record of staying healthy, so hopefully that continues. Turnovers is key. That's something that they've been preaching about all offseason. And it is a mentality. But what I want them to be careful of, I was talking about this in this last preseason game, or it was the preseason game before, it was against the Rams. At times it felt like they were so hype. You know, sometimes you can be so hyped that you're overdoing it. You're overhyping it. You're making more mistakes than not. It's a good thing to have the mentality to go get the football, but you got to play smart. You still have to have your principles, discipline principles, and stay in your lane, stay in your gaps. Make sure if you're going to go for that football that someone's behind you and is going to make the play if you don't, because it can't get out of hand. But something tells me that we got the playmate. I like Epps. I think he's going to help Merrick in the back end. I love Jacorian Bennett. Marcus Peters is that dude that's going to take the ball away, right? And Spillane's a tough dude. Like, I'm waiting to see all the Chandler's known to knock balls out from the backfield too. So this team is built to do so, Watts. Let's just see if they can finally put it together. It's been a while. Yeah, we got to win. Yes, Nick, we got to win road games, but more importantly this season, we need to win home games. We need to become a threat at home. We need to take our city back. Yeah, I wish we were going back to Oakland. It's not happening. So we got to take Vegas by storm. We got to change the dynamic over there. Put Raider fans back in the seats. And the only way you do that is by winning games. Raider Dangerfield says that he thinks we can go 11 games if Jimmy stays healthy. And I'm not against it. Look, man, I this is that time of year where we could look at the team. And I believe in what you just said, by the way. The offense is strong enough. I think this offense is it's gonna surprise a lot of people. Actually, there's a lot of people talking about how this offense is gonna be one of the best in the league. It really does come down to, I mean, we're in the same, I feel like we were in the same spot that we were last year. I think the difference is I think there's enough new veteran players on the defensive side of the ball that could help make that step. And the changes that we made on offense really helps Josh set his system and his culture that he wants, especially offensively. So it is definitely possible. Oh, combo. Patrick Graham is the one on the hot seat for sure. He's the scapegoat regardless. But here's one for you, you know. And I know some people actually think that, you know, Josh McDaniels' play calling is going to get us in trouble. We're going to blow leads again in the fourth quarter. I don't see that happening. I really don't. I mean, that in itself was a phenomenon last year. It is what it is. This offense will be productive. This offense will definitely be top 10, hands down, no questions asked. And that's a pretty bold statement, but that we have the capable players to make that happen. Great running game, great receivers, a solid offensive line, second year together in this system, and Jimmy G. And again, a lot of this is, you know, we all have to say it all the time. If Jimmy G stays healthy, look, I think Jimmy G will be fine. Are you talking about combo? You're talking about Locked On Raider Sports? Yeah, man. I love Q, man. I actually was it on this channel? It might have been on the franchise channel. If you guys were around when I was working with Joe Arrigo and TQ, me and Joe brought Q on. Q Myers on. He's a really cool dude. One of the hardest working people. He was actually from Fresno. I didn't know him when he was here, but I like Q a lot. Yeah, Watts. He's got Josh Jacobs and Devontae. You know, I think a lot of people forget, and I've heard so many people talk about it, and I don't know why a lot of the content creators are not talking about how Devontae and Aaron's game was short. It wasn't all long bomb passes. I think Jimmy and Devontae are going to be just fine. It may take some reps still. I mean, it's been an awkward, unfluent offseason. It hasn't been the best offseason for those two as far as having the time to throw to one another, but it's football at the end of the day. And a lot of these are timing routes. Jimmy's a vet. Devontae's a vet. We've seen it time and time again. We've seen players like OBJ go from one team and jump all the way to the Rams and fit right in. At the end of the day, it's football. And Devontae's a cat's just going to get open, and Jimmy's going to get the ball there. So I agree. And Josh, I'd like to see Josh catch more passes out of the backfield even, and become more of that dual threat. Watts on Bilal Nichols. I really don't have much to say about it. I mean, I'm not mad that he's here, but I'm not super excited either. I'm more hoping he proves my feelings about him wrong. I like Tillery more than Nichols. Jonah from Vegas, what's up, brother? Yeah, dude, I love AOC, JG Raider. Like I want Jimmy G to hold it down. I want him to stay healthy. And as long as, this system is, a lot of people say, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I know, but a lot of people have been talking about that Kyle Shanahan offense, that he doesn't protect his quarterbacks. I don't know how much of that is true, but let's say there's some truth to that. Josh McDaniels' offense is the opposite. It's timing, 1, 2, 3, ball out of the hands. 1, 2, 3, ball out of the hands, right? A lot of play action, get the linebackers to bite, pop the ball out. Jimmy could stay a lot more healthier in this system than we think. Problem is, we're going against a lot of tough defensive pass rushers this year, so the offensive line has to do their part. The DT definitely disrupts the timing of the quarterback. That's why that push is so important. That's also why I say on 3rd and longs, I'm telling you, I'd love to see Tyree get a push. That's his strength. If he's a power rusher that way and he likes to push people back, why not throw him in there on 3rd and long? I like that. He's saying that we should split with KC.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
We should split with KC. And we should split with San Diego. Or now I always say San Diego. Split with the Chargers and then beat Denver twice. I like those odds. And if this defense really steps up, I think it's even better than that. But I will always give Kansas City their flowers until we take that, snap it in half, and throw it in their face. Ring around the rosy. Do it. I'm telling you, like that. Something tells me that Max is going to have this team a little fired up for the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll see how Patrick adjusts. I'm definitely not going to root against the guy because I already know. You saw what he did in the Super Bowl. I thought he was through. Either that or he was faking it on that ankle. Senator Merchant 1 it was talking about what I was talking about Kyle Shanahan and the Shanahans like ruining quarterbacks. They were saying that it was his dad that ruined RGB. I don't know, man. Robert Griffin III. Yeah, RG3. That's what it was. The Shanahans have we can't. I always give credit where credit's due. And the Shanahans have always been able to develop a high potency offense. The offense that Shanahan was running in Atlanta. The problem with the Shanahans, it's never consistent, right? It just seems it's almost like the San Diego Chargers. A Shanahan offense is like the San Diego Chargers' historic career of, hey, look how good we are until we get right here. You know what I mean? Shanahan he always just putters out at the end. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there is history there of him hurting his quarterbacks. The evidence is there. That's why I'm saying. I mean, McDaniels is the opposite, right? So I'd like to see Jimmy G have a shot and just shock everybody, including us. Yeah, I want to split with KC. Yeah, I was with you, Raiders for Life, about Drake Thomas and Damian Williams. But big picture, having Josh back, I would love to have had Josh, Damian, Amir, and Bolden. But I think having two veterans, the caliber of like Williams and Bolden, I see what they were doing. McCormick, made it to the practice squad, so he could have been a reserve, an emergency pull. But that means we would have just had to give up on Zeus. And Zeus is still a young back. And again, when you think of the way that McDaniels runs his offense, yeah, he has a Josh Jacobs, so he's going to use Josh Jacobs, but he's a running back by committee kind of person, right? Like he's not. Zeus has a fit in that role. If Zeus is going to be played to his strengths, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And because this is only his second year, there's still a lot of room for development. And if Zeus can develop into what McDaniels needs, then he's cheaper, young, faster, stronger. Interesting, though. I really wanted to see Damian Williams on this team. But again, we're basing it off one preseason game. We fell for that little lightning in the bottle thing way too many times. P-Dog, man, it's been a hot minute. P-Dog, what's up, brother? Much love, man. God, it's been a long time. You were asking if Morrow's hurt. I'm not sure. I don't know if Morrow's hurt or not. I just don't think Morrow at this point fits what we're doing. I know we want a true linebacker, but Patrick Graham is trying to develop something different. We're just going to have to trust in the system, see if these guys step up. But I would love to have Morrow back. I like Morrow. Raider Nationality talking about, does Tom Brady call his own number? Ooh, does he call his own number and come in and do a miraculous win us the Super Bowl? That would be a Hollywood movie in the making. It would, but I no. No. I really think, obviously, it's more than obvious he's retired. He's really loving the scene in Vegas. You know, he was there in Dallas. He was trying to pump these guys up. Hey, look, there's some history there, right? There's some history. And it's okay to remember the Tuck rule for the rest of our lives, and it's okay to be pissed. If the roles are reversed and Gannon got called for the Tuck rule, we would all just like whatever anyway too, right? You know what I mean? Like it is part of the game. And the bottom line is this guy has done it all. He's done it. I mean, even the deflate gate stuff. So many quarterbacks came out and backed him on that, saying they do the same thing. When you're the man, they're going to come after you. They're going to pick on you. It's not his fault that Spygate was out there and all that jazz. None of that's on Brady. At the end of the day, this guy can bring a lot to this organization. I'm not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet, because it's different from being one of the, the greatest quarterback to ever play the football game, and then being like a partial owner, a public figure. You know, as long as he rolls up his sleeves and really like goes down there himself and helps be a part of the solution and really give and use some of the tools that he has that made him successful to pass it on to others and make great ones to move forward, then I think Brady's a good thing. I'm not saying that you have to forget the past, but at some point, our organization has to have the money to be great. It was one of the best reasons why we went to Vegas. And we've seen the cash flow change. If Brady can help in an all-around way and put Raider fans in seats, so be it. I think Mark's man crush is a little weird, but yeah, I agree, Watts. I want to hold O'Connell back as long as we can. The kid has already shown that he's a sponge. You know, Brady's around. Let me fix my AirPod. Brady's around. So, you know, the odds of this kid getting the proper training and the proper tools are there. The more that he gets to develop, the better odds are going to be once he gets in, that he just gains the confidence and keeps going. You know what? Spillane does have a bit of Romanowski in him, from what I understand. I don't know if he's spitting on people and getting that crazy, but Romanowski was made to be a Raider, man. It's sad that he had to play for both the Niners and the Broncos, but I'm so glad that he had some time with the Raiders. If Spillane can bring Spillane has that type of energy, though. So I think that's why I'm a little intrigued. That's the word I'll use. I'm more intrigued with Spillane than confident in Spillane at this point. But again, Watts, you're saying that you still think we need a quarterback to scramble a little bit to get first downs. Do you see that? Did you see that boy? Did you see that boy struggle getting to the outside? He picked up the first, though, right? You know how many times I've seen Brady do that? And even if Brady was just a little bit more athletic and a little bit more quicker, Brady wasn't a runner. Brady wasn't going to bust big ones out on you, right? But because of Brady's threat, his arm, the play action, and because people don't expect them to run, those lanes happen to be there more often than not. I don't need a guy, to pick up 20 yards. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, you still got to play smart football. If it's 4th and 20, punt. If it's 3rd and 20, run your draw play, run your screen play, continue to play smart football. But if it's like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, and you send those boys out and those lanes open up, O'Connell's got enough to get that 4 or 5 yards, bro. He's showing that, You don't need the most athletic guy. That's why I was so impressed when he hit Mayer on the run. I was like, yeah, that's what you need to see, right? He has just enough. We're talking just enough. But he's still young. It works for me. P-Dog saying our defense will improve. And our, he's talking about DC and not being good enough. And look, I'm still game to talk about DC in the manner of, like, call it what it was. We don't have to taint the man and what he did the last 9 years here. We just have to say, hey, we were at a crossroad, McDaniels or Carr. I think we made the right choice for both people. Carr's been here 9 years. Yes, he's had all these coaches. He deserves an opportunity to go try somewhere else. Now he has that opportunity, and I think he's in a perfect place, both from a franchise perspective and a division perspective. He has an opportunity. Now it's up to him to show what he really is. But it is what it is, man. I do believe that he held us back last year. And I don't think it can be put on McDaniels. McDaniels is going to be McDaniels. You're still. I could do a whole piece of what I personally saw, in what has come out from DC himself, and I love DC the man. He's a competitive dude, very competitive dude. Like, if you watch like some of his Facebook videos or his YouTube videos and stuff, he loves competition. He loves challenging. I've known so many people in my life growing up that were like that. And sometimes they're hard-headed. That's all I'll say about that. Sometimes they're just hard-headed. It's just their nature. Their competitive nature makes them hard-headed. He did, Watts. O'Connell shows some wheels, man. There might have been some of them old white walls, but he showed that he could get it, the 4 or 5 that we need. He don't need to be getting no 10 or 15-yard runs. Yeah. P-Dog, right. Clean slate. We're moving forward. It's a new era. I just hope it's not the same old, same old. That's all I hope for. I don't care who does it. I don't care who it is. Just get it done. Commitment to excellence, just winning. Yeah, you know what, Watts? Spillane is that run stopper, and we need to see him more in the pass. But over there in Pittsburgh, was he really, truly asked to do that a lot? Like, that defense was probably a little different. You know what I mean? I think he's going to have more opportunity. So he's athletic enough. So let's see what he can do. Who, Aiden's? We think he's faster than we think? I don't know, man. It looked like he was giving it all he's got. But let's face it, just because he doesn't look that fast. I mean, obviously he's not going to be a Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be a Jalen Hurts. He's not going to be that kind of a quarterback. But yeah, dude, I mean, he does have some athleticism. We've seen it. He'll be perfect for what Josh does. I'm telling you. Josh couldn't have a better quarterback. P-Dog saying Marcus Peters having a chance for revenge games against Kansas City. You know, it's crazy that he had such a historic career over there. And, you know, he grew up such a big diehard Raider fan, grew up in the city. And it's cool, man. It's cool to see these cats have an opportunity to play out their dream. Because I think he's going to play with a little extra swagger this year. And it's players like him and Devontae. And Curtis Bolton's now coming out saying that he grew up a Raiders fan. You know, he's from the LA area. It's players like that, you know. Or what about guys like Max Crosby that probably didn't grow up a Raider fan, but now he just bleeds silver and black, and he just exudes that commitment to excellence and that just win baby attitude. I'm really excited about this popping off this year. I really am. Oh, about Jacobs not getting 300 carries. Yeah, I think his number will probably be down, depending. Josh, you got to remember, you know, it wasn't like they ran him in the ground purposely. He was the best thing we had going, and Josh is that dude. Josh is that competitive dude. And if the ball is getting spread out and we're doing all the other things and helping him out in those scenarios, I think, you know, he'll do anything. He'll let anything happen to win the game. So I don't think he wants to run it necessarily 293 times, 300 times. But he's that kind of person that if he has to, he'll be like, give it to me. That's why I like Josh. Josh is a dog. Kellen Doss is on the Chargers. Yeah, well, I don't expect him to do much. Dawson just never turned out to be anything. Yeah, I didn't even know that, Watts. But I like Bernie too, Watts. I really want to see what Bernie's got. Yeah, Merchant, like the stadium situation. There's a couple of things happening there. Number one, we're not winning at home. And yes, they can make a grip of money on their tickets. That's number two. So there is fans that are going to put their tickets up for sale because it's an expensive market out over there in Vegas, right? That's one of the reasons why they picked that. And you don't want to spend that extra money. Even if you're a season ticket holder, you're not wanting to spend the extra money on the flights and the hotels and the extra food and gambling and all the partying that's going to go on for the weekend to see your team lose. When you could sell your tickets, make some money, and put it in your pocket. The other problem too, and this we knew this when they moved to Vegas, was casinos like to offer perks. It helps people come, it helps people stay, it helps people spend more money. The casinos will buy these tickets up too, and give them to their residents that are staying there that weekend as comp tickets, get them to stay longer, the high rollers. And people will go there, and Vegas is a glamour city, man. And if the right team's in town, even if the Raiders ain't playing well, you know. Plus, I mean, think about the vacation destination. Let's say you're a Dolphin fan that lives in California. Do you want to fly all the way out to Florida and do that whole scene, or would you rather just take the cheaper flight over to Nevada? Get to stay in a hot place like Vegas that's open 24/7. It's got everything you could offer now, from sports to gambling to shows and food. It's become a really high-end food market, resorts, the whole nine. Celebrities all around. I mean, all the celebrities you talk about that live up in Hollywood and all that, they're always around Vegas. If you know where to go and you have the money to be in the inn, they're all over the place. Now you got all the athletes running around there. It makes it a very hard sell. But it's funny, we're still selling out in other places. That's because it's easier access, right? It's easy for us to black out a Chargers game because they're still the Chargers. And that's still our country, right? So the only thing that's going to change that narrative, even for the season ticket holder and just for the Coliseum itself, I call it the Coliseum, Allegiant Stadium, is winning. Winning can resolve. Yeah, I love Locked On Raider Sports. We gotta smash Denver, bro. That's mission number one. If we're gonna say anything about tonight and talking about these 4 games, none of it matters unless we go handle our business week 1 against Denver. I would love to see Diablo stay healthy, right? Like Diablo's one of those cats, man, that he was getting it done last year, bro. He was getting it done. I don't think he was peaking, but I think him working with Spillane, he's put on some more muscle. He's been working on taking care of his body. You know, he's making a transition. Hopefully this is the year. No. Yeah, Vegas definitely ain't Oaktown, bro. But at the same time, Vegas is a hot spot, bro. Vegas is a little something different. In Vegas Nation, right? The Vegas Raider Nation is really starting to grow. There's a lot of people that I know that have relocated there or are relocating there. And slowly but surely, that's going to become a big Raider town. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying about winning cures all. If they could just continue to win, you'll see that whole city change. I mean, we're talking about the Golden Knights in hockey winning a championship. That's something special. They gave them a little taste of what it could be like to have a sports team like that. The Raiders start winning games and bringing playoff games and championship games and Super Bowls to Las Vegas. Be a different enemy, bro. Mark has set himself up to stabilize the Raiders. He's not going to ever be the richest owner in the league, but he's playing with the big boys now, and he stabilized that organization. Nobody gives him enough credit for that. Everyone wants to talk about how he doesn't know he can't run a football team. He's not trying to run a football team. He's trying to hire guys like Dave and Josh to make it right. So we'll see. And it's going to take a few more years. Let's see what happens. Yeah, Bennett's going to start, bro. I think Bennett gets the nod. And I think it's the perfect week for him to get his start, to get his feet wet, to play 4 quarters. You know, it gives Faison some time to, continue to heal up. I don't know exactly, haven't disclosed just yet what he's dealing with. It'll be a fun week next week to see a lot more of this information come out, who's still nicked up, who's not. But I I was talking about it last night, Watts, and a guy like Jacoby Bennett, man, he's sneaky good, right? Comes from a small school, so a bit overlooked. And yeah, he had the measurables, but when you look at this kid play, dude, his makeup speed, fastest guy on the team, they say, right? And he can cover. I really, if I had to say anything to help everybody process what Jacorian Bennett's going to be, he's going to be an outstanding back. But we're going to have to give him a little bit of rope too, right? Because he is going to be taking a big step. But I think adding Marcus Peters to this roster sped that process up too, bro. And he's been in his back pocket, man. He's been asking all the right questions, learning, growing. I'm excited to see what this kid puts together. But yeah, he's going to start. I know we still have a losing record at home. That's got to change, man. That's got to change the culture. This is part of the culture. This is actually that is going to be the exclamation point on the culture that they're so-called trying to build, right? And I only say so-called, and I try to be blunt about it simply because they haven't done it yet. But I see them making the right steps. I see it, man. I see it happening, but until it like is set in stone and they're actually doing it, I don't want to sell something that hasn't been bought yet. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, the offense is set. I missed that real quick. I keep missing it. My voiceover. You're hoping that P-Dogs won Tyree Irvin or Tyree to play like what he thought David Irvin was going to be. You know what? I really believe that Tyree has an opportunity. But again, missing so much of camp and him being so just one-dimensional. All the measurables there, all the skill sets there, the power, the speed. I think it's so risky to me, right? I want to say more than what I should because he hasn't developed it yet. But one thing I will say about Tyree, if you were going to draft Tyree Wilson, which we did, obviously, it's really great to know that we have a Chandler Jones there, because that is the perfect mentor for Tyree. And in my mind, nothing's going to stop Tyree but Tyree. Well, Watts, he has a lot of influence on that defense. He's talking about Rob. He thinks that Rob Ryan should be the DC, and you're taking it back to a day of glory, right? That was Gruden's boy back in the first run, and Rob's a Ryan. You got Rob, and I'm telling you, I love the Ryan family. I just think that their time is past. But what he should be doing is really trying to mentor and giving some good, stepping in a little bit and kind of helping Patrick Graham. The rumor is, and not necessarily that it came from Ryan, but that Patrick Graham's going to simplify things. So, and that's step one, right? Let's try not to be like the big talk last year was, let's be a 3-4 and a 4-3 and let's play this and let's do that. And it's at the end of the day, it was like, okay, look. Let's just pick an identity and stick with that. I don't care if we're in dime and nickel the whole time. Let's pick an identity, keep it simple, play fast, and let your players make plays. And we have the speed, we have the toughness on this football team, I believe, this year. If we just keep it basic, simple, and go for the football, good things will happen. And then as it really starts to grow, then you can start mixing it up a little, and they'll continue to play fast. It's a lot easier to make changes midway through a season when your defense is flying around and good things are happening. Yeah, P-Dog. Screw that reading around the rosy stuff. I want revenge for that big time. Yeah, Raider Dangerfield. I agree. Even with running back by committee, if you're going to have a running back by committee but have a guy like Josh Jacobs, it just, and again, these are the things that McDaniels has done well. People are saying, why did the Raiders spend so much money on the offense? Well, it's quite simple, because Bill wouldn't. Bill just wouldn't, right? Bill was a defensive guy. Bill believed in balancing. He was more of a defensive-minded coach. That's Bill's background. Josh McDaniels, the offensive guy, and now he's got the power. He probably wants to. He's probably questioning, like, what if I could have this, that, and this? What could I really do? And now he has. He might be missing. If he had Tom Brady, can you imagine if we did have Tom Brady in his prime? With Devontae, with Hunter, with Jacoby, a guy like Mayer and his capability coming up, Josh Jacobs, a guy like Brady didn't have a lot of that. It was a lot of guys that continued to rotate into this system, and if they bought into the system and was able to have the football smarts, that's why Dave and Josh want smart football players, because if they pick up on the complexity of the things that they're running, that's what makes it work for them. And I think this is going to be one of his better teams. This is going to be one of his better teams. Let me see that. I didn't catch that. Yeah, Rob would be cool. Zeus, I like Zeus too. He's still developing. Kansas City and late in the season, we're still talking. You know what? I don't know. Million Merchant won, saying getting rid of Derek Carr. He's not trying to hate, but it's an automatic 2 wins. Look, I agree. Anybody been watching this channel a long time knows that not only I'm in Fresno, but I've met DC on several occasions here in Fresno, from the church perspective, not from the football perspective, right? I did get to meet him at camp as a rookie. I went to a couple of lunches. I've been around. I'm not friends with them. I'm not on a first name basis. I can't call him up and say what's up. But he was a good person. Now, that doesn't mean it translates to the field, right? But he's a very athletic, gifted person, right? And he went through the ringer. He did. And Gruden was his best hope. And when Gruden was gone, I mean, that crushed him. And to bring in a guy, 2 different personalities, 2 different offensive coaching styles, and I think Carr just mentally couldn't handle the change. Change is hard to deal with. Change is inevitable, but change can be hard to deal with. So I'm one of those guys that say, yeah, he needed to leave. And I think that it was the best thing that happened to him and the best thing that happened to us. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Hey, Kenny Stabler went to the Saints, took them to the playoffs. Like, look, no harm, no foul, bro. Like, go be you. But I think with a guy like Josh McDaniels, his style, his background, this needed to happen. So it's going to be a good thing for him, but I think it's even going to be a better thing for us. And there's nothing wrong with saying it that way. I know some people might get mad, but it's the truth. My 5 most hated Broncos of all time. I'm thinking. Well, you know Elway's there. Terrell Davis. I hated Romo. He was a Raider killer when he was on the Broncos. I'm trying to think of there's a receiver that's slipping my mind right now. And it's sad to say this too, but I think I'll be honest. My most hated was because I look up. If there's anybody that I look up to in the National Football League, was Peyton Manning. I thought Peyton Manning, not only on the field but off the field, is the real deal. The letters that he would send to the greats. I don't know if you guys seen all those pieces. Peyton Manning was the real deal. When he came to the Broncos, I was crushed, man. And because you had to take someone that you respected, and then you had to sit there and root against him, and you had to start like hoping that his neck was a problem. And then he goes out and he does what he does, and it's like, son of a, yeah, tainted the whole Peyton Manning thing for me. But that's all right. That's not 5, I know, but give me some time to think about it. %100%. I agree. I know we don't even play the Saints this year. Hey, wouldn't it be funny if it was a Saints Raiders Super Bowl in Vegas? Hey, I am not a conspiracy dude. Never have been, never will be. But if it's a Saints Raiders Super Bowl, things rigged, bro. Straight up, things rigged. I like what everybody's saying. Like, this is the most positive conversation I've ever heard about DC in any live video, and I don't know if it's because of my personality or not or what, but I appreciate it because I've been in other chat rooms and listened to people talk and all the videos and all the hate, and I don't get it. I don't get it. That shield. Oh, I did it right. That shield right here. That's all that matters, man. Players come and go in this league. I've loved so many players that have come and gone. Look at Seawood, right? Like, he went and won a championship with the Packers. Good for him. But he's still a Raider. Always will be a Raider. Marcus Allen, that's one that hits me deep, man. One of my fondest memories as a young boy was seeing him in the Super Bowl running and setting the record. Like, that's forever embedded in my head, right? To see him go and be a Chief, damn, that was hard. It's still hard to even think about, hearing Greg Papa, and I know there were some things that Papa, Greg Papa didn't understand. Again, change is hard. Like, dude, there ain't nobody that I respect in the National Football League that will ever hold a candle up to how I felt about Al Davis. But real talk, and real people, right? Real men wear black. And I tell you, Al lost it at the end. Al's a prideful guy. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, Al was so focused on this football team and making it great that it hurt the team at the end. In that he, let's be honest, we pick on Mark, but, Al didn't teach him enough either, right? So at the end of the day, the one thing that Al, no matter what happened at the end and a lot of the mistakes that he was making in his older years, he taught us that nothing's more important than that shield. That nothing, no player, no number, right, No number, no player will ever take a place for what that is supposed to, what this shield is supposed to stand for. Nothing. And I believe that. I believed that my whole life. When I first started YouTube, there was a bunch of beef going on. I did a whole, what does the shield mean to you? That shield means everything to me. Everything to me. It stands for more than just the game that's played, the players that have been here. I've lived my life with a commitment to excellence, a just win baby attitude, and I haven't had to do that more than I've had this past 6 years. So, yeah, without that shield, I don't know what kind of person I'd be. Anyway, I don't want to get all in one of my little deep rants, but that's real talk. So if you love DC, I love DC, but I'm good. I still love DC. Go be a Saint, though. I'm not going to be a Saint fan. I don't do that. I'm a Raider. Just what I do. Right? That's why I feel the same about Tom Brady. Tom Brady, you going to invest your money into this team? Cool. You're a Raider. Got more money than I got. Yeah, Gannon and Plunkett. Plunkett was a lightning in the bottle, too. He had a rough career before he, think about how the Patriots felt about Plunkett or the 49er fans felt about Plunkett, right? And then he comes and be a Raider, gets 2. So, it is what it is. Can't do nothing with the bottom 25 defense. Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, but even Gannon, Gannon was a guy that came in at the right time too, right? I love Gannon. I liked him in KC. I was stoked when we swooped him up. But Gannon is by all means not my favorite Raider. Not even close. Not really. You can't compare. They had, Plunkett, I'd say even more so, right? Gannon had to go through that transition of Gruden leaving too. And that didn't hurt his game because Callahan kept the same offense around, but it was that same offense that hurt us in the end. Derek Carver will be back for Alumni Day. All right, guys. I'm trying to catch up on the chat as fast as I can. Real quick update for you guys here in just a second. The Raiders still run Los Angeles. I agree. I agree about all those guys being journeymen first. Jimmy G maybe has that opportunity too. Okay, I'm out of time. My teenage girls are at the movies. I got to go get them. This is going to be the video of the end of the week for me as far as going live and making videos. I will be back either Sunday night or Monday night. Looking like I'm really liking this live thing. I appreciate you guys all being here. Remember, I struggle with the chat. I'm doing the best that I can. I use voiceover. I'm legally blind, so I got the AirPod in my ear. Tomorrow's Friday. Saturday, I'm hosting my first independently blind group meeting where I'm having teenage kids come over. I'm barbecuing. I'm going to be teaching them how to advocate for themselves. I'm taking my independently blind brand to the next level, and I've been mentoring 2 high school kids. One's graduating this year, another one's graduating next year, and I got a couple more coming in this weekend that I'm going to start mentoring. It's what this is all about. Independent Blind Studios, Night of the Shield. I appreciate all your guys' support and being here. I'm also working with my autistic son, teaching him some of the stuff that I've learned to kind of come help me produce this, so we can have a more smooth conversation in the chat. Get them displayed up here and do that all properly, since I can't see to do that. So there's a lot of things I'm working on, some changes in the mix. I appreciate all your guys' patience. Most importantly, I appreciate all your guys' love and respect for that shield and the Raider Nation. It means a lot to me. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be updated every time I go live or drop another episode. And if you're in the house right now, smack that like button before you leave, please. On the way out, just go ahead and hit that like button. Let us rank a little higher in the algorithm, and let's get this, to breathe some life back into this channel. I'm going to be here all year, P-Dog, it was awesome seeing you. Watts, always nice seeing you. Those are two OGs right there, guys. They've been around this YouTube game a long time. I remember watching their videos way back in the day when I first started. P-Dog's been around a hot minute. Thank you to Robert Pena, Combo, Nick209. My gosh, I don't want to miss anybody's names, but I'm just NorCal Jesse. Thank you. And then there's so many more of you that were here tonight. I don't want to miss anybody and miss you guys. All right. I really, really appreciate you guys. And until next time, stay Raider Strong. Night out.